What's good? This your boy Derrick Branch here, Sports View 360 covering the New Orleans Saints. And I just want to talk about what New Orleans Saints beat writer, NOLA.com columnist, Jeff Duncan put out on the future of Saints star running back Alvin Kamara. So here's how I took it, right? When I saw the post from Jeff Duncan. Yeah, it came out yesterday. I think around between 8 and 9 o'clock, I was on Twitter scrolling through my feed, and the minute I saw his post and the caption that he used to describe his article, I already know what time it is. I already know what time it was going to be for the entire day. And lo and behold, this dude's story was trending on Twitter. His story was trending on Saints Twitter. Like, if you look at your news section of Twitter on your page, if you follow the Saints and all that, it had Saints fans outraged over columnist's story on Alvin Kamara. I'm paraphrasing that, but that's what it pretty much said. And he just got violated by the majority of the fan base. And today I just got a chance to read the story, to see what it was all about. It wasn't, to me, nothing really scathing in the article. He just named basically he named a few examples of players, great players with other teams that have eventually, had to cut ties with their team. You mentioned Aaron Rodgers with the Packers, Peyton Manning with the Indianapolis Colts, Tom Brady with the New England Patriots. He even brought up Tom Brady and Gisele's divorce. I mean, I get the point that Jeff is trying to make with those examples, but the reality is, if Belichick and Brady had gotten along and wanted to stay, if the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick would have made a commitment to adding more weapons to that roster in New England, Brady would have stayed. Let's be honest. Brady would have stayed. That's why he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's why he considered the New Orleans Saints, because at the time, the Saints roster was stacked with weapons. Alvin Kamara in his prime, Michael Thomas in his prime. You had Latavius Murray, Jared Cook. You had playmakers all over the field. Peyton Manning. If he didn't have the neck injury, he'd still be with the team. But I get what he's saying, though. I understand what he's trying to say there. I understand what he's trying to say. I understand the point he's trying to make. And I saw a post put out by, I believe it was Ralph Marlboro of the Saints Happy Hour podcast. He was just saying how, and a paraphrase when I say this, he was saying that Jeff Duncan wouldn't have put that story out if the Saints leadership, I'm talking about Mickey Loomis and the Caleb Bensons, things like that, Dennis Lauska, if they didn't blast off on it, he wouldn't have done that. And I know a lot of reporters, a lot of writers that are credentialed to cover that team don't really like when you say that the Saints give certain people permission to write certain articles about the team. They don't like that because they feel as though you're trying to say that they're working for the team, but to maintain their access. And what Ralph said, that is some truth to that, because usually when Jeff puts something out about a player, I would say 9 99% of the time. 90 to 95, 90 to 95% of the time, it's going to go down. Because if you recall, depending on how much you pay attention to it, the situation, Duncan had put out an article, I think about a month ago or 2 months ago, talking about how the Saints have been good to Alvin Kamara, how good the team has been to Alvin Kamara. You know, now fast forward to yesterday, there's another article about Alvin Kamara, but it may be time to part ways with Alvin Kamara. You know what I'm saying? So something could be going down, man. Something could be going down. I think personally, he wouldn't write that. He wouldn't write that article without any fire behind it, without something going on in the background. You know, because Jeff Duncan do have sources in that compound on Airline Drive. He do, like it or not. You know, but to me, I already told y'all how I felt about this in previous videos. I think, Alvin Kamara just got underutilized after Sean Payton left. You know, they made a mistake by hiring Pete Carmichael as the OC. Dennis Allen did, and then he made another mistake that pretty much canned him right there by double downing on Pete Carmichael in his second year, going into his second year to be the OC. You know, and something else I want to put out in a column that he wrote. He was saying how the Saints got a nice stable of backs around after Travis Etienne and Devin Neal, Austin Estime. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Kendrick Miller to fill that void. And I like all three of those guys, those options. But they have proven to not stay healthy. They are good running backs. Don't get it twisted. They are really good running backs. But Kendrick Miller can't stay healthy. Austin Estime has injury history. Devin Neal couldn't stay healthy last year. He showed a lot of upside last year. From the sample size he provided. You know, the problem ain't production, in my opinion. I just think it's availability. You know, so I don't trust the running back situation behind Travis Etienne. That's why I was a big advocate of the Saints taking a running back in the draft. Adding another running back to the stable because of this Alvin Kamara situation. You know, and then he was just saying how, and a lot of other people have felt this way as well, that Alvin Kamara, like he went to the mini camp, right? And the next day he was gone. He got there, made a surprise visit, and pretty much, according to Jeff Duncan, he was off of the sidelines while the other running backs, Estime, Devin Neal, and Etienne that went through the drills. He was off of the sideline, and the next day he was pretty much gone. And he was saying how they haven't really been in communication at all during the offseason through this process. And he made a comparison between how Nathan Shepard, who wasn't there, he wasn't at minicamp as well, the voluntary part, but he was making constant contact with the team in regards to his situation. And then, like he was saying, Alvin Kamara didn't do that. And to him, to Duncan, he felt as though if because he feels as though Alvin Kamara is out of his prime, that you're not the number one, you're not the top draw at the position. It now belongs to H-Han, and that since you're like on your last leg with the team, you should be here fully engaged in the activities. It is what it is, man. I already told you how I felt, man. I think they should keep Alvin Kamara, man. There is a role for Alvin Kamara on this team, bro. You cannot tell me that there is not a role for Alvin Kamara on this team. There's just not. And if there's not if the team, the people inside the building, the people that make these decisions, Loomis, Kellen Moore, everybody else, if they feel as though there's no place for him on this roster, there's about several other teams that will scoop up Alvin Kamara. I'm telling you, a lot of teams out there that would love to have a guy like that. I think he would go to the Rams if it came down. I said this in another video as well. If it came down between the Rams or going back to his former head coach Sean Payton, I think he would take the Rams. But I don't really have nothing against Jeff Duncan, man. That's just what he does. He got sources inside the building. He knows. I mean, he wouldn't have put out that column like that if he didn't have anything to back it. And it might happen, it might not. They might not, like he said in the article, they may not do nothing with his money. It might just let him, ride his time out. We'll see how it all play out, man. But I told y'all before, the Saints not acting like they want Alvin Kamara around. Their actions demonstrate that they're ready to move on from him, to me. And I said this before. I think somebody unsubscribed from me, if I'm not mistaken. I said I'm about 70% certain that Alvin Kamara will not be a part of this team when they get on the field against the Detroit Lions. But we'll see how it all play out, man. Everybody's off. Training camp will start till in the next month. So something's going to go down based on the way this article was written. But Alvin Kamara did respond to it. He just pretty much saying, reference what Michael Thomas called Jeff Duncan a few years ago when he wrote his piece on him, part ways with the team, and Michael Thomas called Jeff Duncan a garden tool, and Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara kind of repeated what Michael Thomas said. So there's that, man. But let me know, man. Let me know in the comment section below, man. Does this article written by Duncan signify the end of the Alvin Kamara era in New Orleans? Let me know how you feel. Have a blessed day. Peace. I'm out.